I think we're broadcasting. Now let's wait for the delay. Oh my gosh, it's only 10 seconds. What a great day this is. Hi, I think I'm live. I'm waiting for my player to catch up so I can tell if I'm live. Bit of delay. Okay, great. Yay, I'm live. Hi guys. This is my first stream in a while. I don't have a specific agenda planned. I will answer questions. But then, oh my gosh, my computer is like really slow. This is depressing. But then, I mean, what I was working on today was the Trapper class, and I can talk about that. Um, yeah, and let's try to figure out how we're gonna communicate, given the sort of inherent delay of the stream. We'll figure something out. I'm sure it'll be fine. So, so let me just talk about like what's going on, right? So, as the content guy on Stonehearth, my job is to stay ahead of the development team. I guess the people who write more code than I do. Um, so Stephanie has been busy implementing the Weaver, and she's almost done. And next up is the Trapper. So that's what I'll be doing. Ooh, we should do whiteboard. Let's do a whiteboard talk. Hold on, hold on. Let's see if I can get this going. That would be fun. That would be really fun. So let's do that. Here, you guys can take a look at these guys, these little dudes. This is the Trapper and all his derived classes. I'll talk about it in a bit. What's the estimated release for the new update? Yeah, I guess I can talk about that while I'm setting up this whiteboard. Um, Basically, we are paying very close attention to your guys' feedback, and the feedback is consistent and not surprising that the two things that you want most are first, fixing stuck workers. Whoops, let's move that over there. Um, and after that, you want save. So those are two big complicated problems. And so we are putting Tony on both of those, who's the main engine programmer. Actually, almost the only engine programmer. Chris handles graphics, and that's part of the engine. But Tony's sort of the simulation guy. So all of his time right now is devoted wholly to those two issues. He's going to fix the Pathfinder first. It's not just the Pathfinder, it's really the whole AI system to allow our units to coordinate much better than they can right now, and that will fix the AI stuck workers problem. The instant he has that finished and adequately tested, we're going to push out the next release. So that will be not weeks, but maybe not 1 week, maybe 2 weeks. It's hard to say, but basically that's when the next release will be, when we have the stuck workers problem fixed. Then Tony will move on to save, and we'll push the next release once save is out. There may be like intermittent releases between the two if something good happens, but basically the next two major features you can see will be fixing stuck workers and then save. Now, while that's going on, the rest of the team continues to work on other stuff like content and like performance fixes and like other new features. And so those will come in when they're ready in between those, around those major features. So for instance, it is possible, looking less likely, but possible that you'll get the Weaver in the same patch that you get the workers being fixed issue. You know what I mean? When workers get fixed, you might get the Weaver because the Weaver's ready to go. You'll definitely get some other stuff too. But our two central issues right now are fix stuck workers once and for all, and then implement save, and content will trickle in around those things. And then we'll see where we are. The next thing after that will probably be improving building, and and getting the real building features that we want, like editing floor plans and stuff like that. Okay, so let me set up this whiteboard in XSplit. So I need a new scene. Oh, this is going to be bad. Oh no, I'm out of room. I'm out of window space. How are we going to do this? I really wanted to do it too. Alright, get ready for Hall of Mirrors. Wonk. It's a rave. Okay, scale my viewport to 50%. Good. Now get that out of the way. Then make a new scene. Drop this. Add a screen region. I could have been like super clever and done this in advance, but I just wanted to get the stream up. Okay, great. Now resize this thing. Hello? How do I resize it? Oh, XSplit, don't let me down. Nope, that's the position. Width, bigger. Height, bigger. Oh, we've got a whiteboard. Okay, it's a gray board, but close enough. All right, now let's see if I can actually draw on this thing. I just want to set up sort of what we're doing so you guys know. And it's fun to... Oops, I shouldn't have done that. I just totally disrupted my webcam, so I'm going to have to like fix it after this, but whatever. Okay, so... Can you guys see this thing? Let's see. Doink. Whoa. Alright. Okay, get rid of that. And give me a round brush. Okay, so what we are working on is the trapper. So at the base of our tech tree, you've got the worker, right? Everybody knows the worker. Those are the guys that haul and stuff. Okay. You'll be able to upgrade. You know that you can upgrade your worker to a carpenter. Right, through the saw. You hand the worker a saw and he becomes a carpenter. Okay. So, and the weaver will operate in the same way. And in a similar fashion, you'll be able to upgrade a worker into a trapper. Right? This is right out of tactics games. This is where we pull this kind of RPG class system. Okay, and the trapper's job is to go out and hunt small game, like rabbits and squirrels and stuff like that. You can do that for a couple of reasons. You can get food from them. You can get like pelts, which the weaver can refine. So basically, they're raw materials. They're kind of like bushes that run around, and so you have to go get them. Different source of food. And the trapper will level up. If you guys have the Kickstarter page open, you can check out sort of the graphic there. I'm sort of going through that. But this is like actually happening now. We're actually writing this stuff. So the trapper will level up and he'll be able to trap and harvest bigger and better things other than squirrels and rabbits. But then you can choose, once he reaches a certain level, to upgrade him. And you can go one of two ways. You can choose to upgrade him into a hunter. And the hunter is kind of like the trapper, except he can hunt bigger things. Like he'll be able to hunt like maybe wolves and bears. And he'll have abilities that are that let him kill beasts faster. Like he'll have like a kill shot. One idea that we're playing around with is he has a chance to kill a beast in one hit. Stuff like that. He's basically more effective at hunting. Or you could upgrade him to the shepherd. And the shepherd has a different ability. He's not about sort of going and harvesting animals for raw materials. He's more about going out and taming docile animals. So if you have like a sheep or a deer or something like that, something that's not going to like fight back, he can go and sort of charm it and bring it back to your town, and then you can pen it, and then basically have a renewable source of materials, be it like wool from the sheep or meat or whatever. So that's what the shepherd does. And so remember, all these guys derive from worker, right? And you have to go up this path, right? So if you want a trapper, you're going to have to like burn one of your workers to get it. And then if you want the hunter or the shepherd, right, right? You're going to have to upgrade that trapper, right? And then if you still want a trapper, you'll have to upgrade another worker to the trapper, right? So we want you to think of your guys as a resource, a limited resource. Um, and then I don't want to spoil too much, but both of these will be able to upgrade as well. Huh? Is all this on the Kickstarter page? I mean, I know that there's a class tree. I'm not sure if there was. Yeah. Okay. So up. Yeah, more food will give you more workers. Oh, thanks, Stephanie. I was like, wow, that was a really astute comment, but it came from Stephanie, so sure. So the hunter can upgrade to what we're calling the big game hunter, which is kind of like, he's patterned after like a guy on Safari, except it'll be more medieval themed, something more appropriate. So he can go out and like hunt giant game that you can use to get like epic crafting materials. And then the other way the hunter can go is, what's the other way the hunter can go, Stephanie? Okay, yeah. So these guys don't split, so they can upgrade. So when you upgrade from a hunter to a big game hunter, you'll lose some abilities, but you'll gain some other abilities. And the shepherd can upgrade to our we used to call it the animal trainer, but we renamed him to like I think we renamed him to the beastmaster. Okay, and I don't want to describe what these guys do in too much detail because um, spoiler, and it'll probably change by the time we get around to implementing them. Um, but and hint, like the weaver is going to come off here, except um, think of this as a dotted line, right? Because you don't upgrade a carpenter to a weaver, but the carpenter will produce um, materials that you need to get a weaver, basically a spindle, right? So you upgrade a worker to a carpenter, you use the carpenter to produce the spindle, and then you use the spindle to upgrade a worker to a weaver, okay? So this is how we'll get our tech tree. Um, my job is to make sure that the assets are in place when these things are ready to be coded, right? So worker assets done, right? Carpenter assets done, weaver assets done, right? So next up are like this whole tree, right? Starting with the trapper, and then hunter and shepherd, and then so on and so forth. So that's what we're doing. Okay. Let me put this back, and hopefully not disturb my webcam. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Okay. So that like grunting you heard was me putting my Cintiq back in place. XSplit. Go to scene one. How are you doing? Oh, that's not bad. I didn't do too badly on that one. The camera's only a little bit out of place, and I can fix it by hitting the silver button. Oh, close enough. I have no head, but you guys get the idea. Okay, so that's what we're doing. And so what you see here is, let's start here. So I've already been going on this for a little while, right? So here's the trapper, okay, and this is guy trapper, girl trapper, right? And it's kind of neat. He's got like a little knife back here, right? Just for show, just to give him something that is, a little bit different. Chrome keeps thinking that my web pages are unresponsive, and they totally aren't. I wish it would just shut up about it, but let's see. I'm also forgetting my hotkeys. There, that's how you rotate the camera. Okay, so Trapper is done. Congratulations. We did a great job on that. Next, I'm going to deal with the Hunter. Here's the Hunter, right? So remember, Trapper upgrades to Hunter. And I want to keep their designs I want to keep the same color scheme for their designs. So everyone who derives from the Trapper, everyone in that family has roughly the same color palette. It's this sort of dark wine-ish red, and then brown, like a neutral brown. And then as you go up the tech tree, I incorporate this sort of complementary green. And that's so that you don't have to memorize the look of everybody. When you see a guy who's in sort of the winey red you'll know that he's like one of the guys who goes out and gathers um, animals. He's the animal gatherer, sort of the trapper hunter kind of guy. And like the carpenter, for instance, has a red and blue color scheme, and the mason will have a different color scheme. So have those strong color families for class association. Okay, so here's the male hunter. Now let's get to it. Enough talking. I need to make the female hunter. This ought to be fun. You think the bear hood should have a face? It does have a face. Look, it's got eyes. It's got two eyes, and it's got a nose. I tried making him like super obvious, but it looked weird. It looked like he had four eyes, so I sort of dialed him back a bit. But yeah, it's a bear hood. And the personality of the hunter is so the personality of the trapper is he's kind of harmless. So trapper, she's kind of harmless. She's inexperienced, uh, not in a bad way, just like she's new, so she can only hunt like squirrels and rabbits, little things. When she graduates to a hunter, she's sort of like a killer, right? So that's why the sort of more sinister hood, right? Um, and so, right, let's just get to it. So because I'm not, well, here, look, let's just do it this way. Um, let's just grab the whole head and just do a paste job. In fact, we can do it this way. Copy, paste. All right. This is just going to be a lot faster than, excuse me, individually tweaking all the voxels. Now let's try to see if I line it up. It's one too low. I don't know. Let's line up the eyeballs. Yeah, the eyeballs line up, so that's right. Okay. And I think it's one too far to one too far forward. No, it's good. Okay, great. I'm just checking out what you're saying in chat. Hi, Manoret. Oh, for those of you who are kind of new, you will notice that my model is chopped up. These are all the different body parts, um, so that it can be animated. That's just kind of the way it goes. Uh, so that's why I'm editing, like, well, that's why she's all cut up. Huh? Oh, wrong tool. Okay. So this is going to be mostly a pretty straightforward mechanical process, but I mean, we are, you get to see me use Cubicle. And by the way, if you guys saw from the blog, there's a special Stonehearth edition of Cubicle, which is like $11, which is like almost a 75% discount over the usual home version. So thanks a lot, Tim from Mindesk, for making that happen. So if you just want to like play around with voxel modeling and then export your models eventually for use in Stonehearth, you can do it fairly inexpensively. And if you just want to play around with voxel modeling, it is a lot of fun. They have a free version that you can download and just play with, no cost. And for me, at least, I've done some 3D animation and modeling, and it can be really challenging to learn the tools. I mean, of course you can do it, but it is pretty challenging to learn those tools. Modeling with voxels for me is a lot more fun because I feel like I get to concentrate on my design, and on achieving what I'm trying to achieve, be it a look or a style, and not worry so much about the tool, and the specifics of the tool. I'm sure that goes away as you learn. It's like anything, once you master the tool, it becomes sort of like breathing, but it's a steep learning curve. So modeling voxels for me is like super fun. I really like it, which is a good thing because I'm doing a lot of it nowadays. Okay. Does anyone have is there a discourse thread? I looked for one and didn't see one, with questions. If not, I'm happy to take them from chat because, of course, you guys signed up. for signed up. Well, you're participating by coming here. Someone asked about Humble Bundle. Humble Bundle is much less used than Steam, but much less used. Hmm? Oh, when will we sell on Steam? That's a great question. We will sell on Steam when we feel like we can legitimately say when we reach a critical mass of features. If you found us through Stonehearth.net or whatever, um, well, then you probably did a little bit of looking and you sort of on your own went and found Stonehearth. So we feel like that's an appropriate place for you to support it, for us to offer support. Yeah, you have a contact. You know about Stonehearth, right? Because you came to our site and read about it, so you kind of know what's going on. So we think that that kind of a player will get what we're doing with this super early alpha, whereas random person who just stumbles upon Steam or Stonehearth on Steam probably doesn't have that context, and so they're much more likely to get the wrong idea and get mad when they paid for a game where they can't save. And that doesn't help anybody. They just get mad. We get frustrated. So we're just not going to do that. So we will sell on Steam when we feel like it's ready for a less knowledgeable player. It's hard to say when that's going to be. It's definitely a feel. But yeah, I mean, we're in no hurry. We're genuinely just focused on development and making sure that we keep the momentum going in terms of adding new features and keeping the quality high and fixing the quality issues that we have now. That's where we're focused. We're not really focused on like how do we sell it or whatever, because if we make something that's awesome, it's not going to have a problem selling itself. We'll have to use some effort, but job number one is make something worth selling and then figure out how to sell it. So like I said, I mean, that was kind of mechanical, right? I mean, we're not doing like major innovations here just by porting sort of the aspects of one model to the next. But that's pretty good. I mean, you look at them and they sort of go together. One thing that I wanted to do was, it's funny, these kind of look like Tanuki suits, if anyone remembers Mario, which is, I think, cute and distinct, which I'm into. Let's do a couple more things. Okay, but this is just getting us sort of to par. Now I want to do something to distinguish the girl hunter from the guy hunter, just because, why not? Just to give her her own personality. I want to give her cat ears. I want to give her like a cat fur or something, a cat helmet instead of hood instead of a bear hood. What do you think about that, peoples? What are your opinions? And I'll just wait for you guys to catch up. Please make the ponytail come out the back of the hood. Yeah, so first I like that idea. Hair is something that we're going to have to figure out. Because not all your girls have ponytails, right? I mean, what about the girl with the sort of bun hairdo? Like, should her buns pop out the helmet or the hood? That would be bad, right? Yeah, it's something we have to figure out. It's at the very least we can do this, and then we'll see if we can do something better. If you have any grand suggestions, go ahead and post them too. Either the discourse or on Stonehearth Guru. Wolf, not cat. Yeah, fine. Wolf is fine. Let's go with wolf. I like that idea. It sounds better. And I wanted, the idea was that I want like pointy ears. All right, how are we gonna do these pointy ears? First, the whole color palette is gonna be different. But let's see. Let's do it. Let's try it. Let's try it. I don't normally like doing these diagonal voxel things, but I feel like diagonal lines in voxels. I'm not a fan usually, but I think I'll make an exception here. How's that? And now maybe the whole thing is a little bit too high. Let's see if we can drop it by one little voxel. Yeah, that's the stuff. All right, I'm only gonna model one side of her head, because then I'll just flip it around, mirror it, and okay, so that's good. Now, how do we make this thing more wolf-like? Actually, let's do this. Yeah. There we go. Ooh, a fox! A fox! The only problem I have with the fox is that it's kind of a vermin. And I don't know. To the Google. Like a wolf is like more consistent with her character, which is that she's more of a badass. Fox pelt. Google image search. Wow, this is depressing. Oh no! Oh no! All right, I don't know. Wolf pelt hood. Look at that. Oh wait, that's only one result. I need more. Oh, 100 more. There we go. Yeah, see? Yeah, something like that. Or like that. Yeah. We're going wolf, guys. We're gonna go like for a brown wolf. Like that. I'm just looking for color now. Wow. Maybe I should buy one of these things. All right, let me put this on another monitor, and so I can refer to it. So we want this thing to look, all right, more wolfy and less berry, which means it needs to be pointier. All right. So this thing needs to get a lot pointier, a lot faster. So add, and you'll notice that I am using the hotkeys, which is like a prerequisite if you want to be able to model quickly. You need, and like, I guess, more quickly translate what's in your head to what's on the screen. Hotkeys cannot be understated. The importance of hotkeys. They're like, well, learn the hotkeys. You get the idea. Even though you'll be slower in the short term, because like you'll think, just force yourself to not ever put your mouse over here. I don't know if you guys can see my mouse, but like this toolbar. This toolbar doesn't exist. The only reason the toolbar exists, well, it doesn't exist. Pretend it doesn't exist. Never touch it. Learn your hotkeys. You won't be sorry. This is going to be tricky, because I need to make this look more like a snout without doing the old diagonal line thingy. Because I personally think diagonal lines look pretty bad in voxels. That's just me. Alright, let's see. The colors will be different. I'm just trying to mask out the different areas. A color. Should we nuke that? that's horrible. That was an awful mistake. Okay. Let's make it a little bit narrower. Because it's a fox head. Wolf head. Not fox. Anybody can kill a fox. Reduce the eye span. Okay. That's not bad. That's probably better. I'm just trying to get the other side to look like close. It doesn't have to look exact because of course I'm going to mirror it. Here I'll just show you. Right, when I get like a critical mass of completeness, doink, copy, paste, mirror on the x-axis, move it over, boom, right? Right, so when you put her next to him, they're definitely still in the same family, but she's got like a little bit of, she's got her own personality. Oh, the wolf looks more masculine than the bear. Really? Is it because the ears go too high? Maybe. Maybe. Right, do that. Maybe they should go more out. Yeah, it's looking less like a wolf now. It looks kind of like a monkey. Okay. Why did you link a bunch of dogs, Newt? That's really weird. If you wanted to put a Newfoundland dog on her head, that can't be right. It looks like a bat. It does look like a bat. I'm putting the ears back up. Oh, it still looks like a bat? This is tricky. It should look, I want it to look kind of like a kitty. Well, yeah, I guess that's what I'm going from. I really want it to look like a cat, and I'm using wolf as a proxy for cat, which is maybe just a mistake. You know, maybe it's like a big cat. Wow, that's no good. You know what? I have a wolf model. You guys have seen it. Let's take a break. Open the wolf. Assets, voxels, wolf. Of course, the trick is I'm not even sure if the voxel resolution is even close to the same. It's probably not. So here's our wolf. Do I have one that's... Yeah, okay, so here's one that hasn't been cut up yet. Alright, paste that in there. How does the size compare? It might be close enough. It might be close enough. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Grab you, copy, paste. Now I have a copy. So I can mess with this as much as I want. So I'll nuke all the voxels except for one reference voxel up top. So I know roughly how tall I want the head to be. And I want to keep the back of the head, because the back of the head probably shouldn't change too much. So nuke the front. Great. Now come in here, grab my wolf head. All of it? Yeah, all of it. Copy, paste. I should have done this from the beginning. Okay, and it's not big enough, so I'm gonna like scoot it over a little bit to where I think it should be, like one side of it, and then I'll just like adapt it. Maybe down one. Let's go down one and over one. Right there. Okay. Now, I know for a fact that it's not, that these need to go. These need to go. Like, this whole side of it needs to go. Of course, I'm just going to, like, deal with one side. And then I'll mirror. Okay, so suppose we just did that. Suppose that was it. Well, of course that's not adequate, but it needs to be one more forward, kind of. Just push the front of it like that. Wow, you guys are linking JPEGs all over the place. Oh my gosh, that's adorable. Lunatic. Lunatic wins. Alright, so that's our new target. That's terrific. Good job. I appreciate the help. So I've got that over on my other monitor, and that's not too far off from where we are. Not too far off. Okay, and then I feel like I need to extend his cheeks. I know the colors are off. Don't worry about the colors yet. Oops. Oh man, I hate doing this. Like this part, because I can't like really see what's going on. Okay, that's better. Alright, something like that. Something like that. Just sort of integrate these two surfaces. Just roughly, like, contour. That's about the right contour. Let's see how we did. Nuke this half. Copy, paste, flip it on the horizontal axis. Move it on over. Yeah, way better. Way better. Okay, now we have a decision to make. Bye. You're very helpful. Thank you. Oops. Is this thing too far forward? It feels like it's too far forward. I guess not. Maybe it is. Yeah, that's better. Okay. So we can go for... We can stay within our color family, which I feel like is a good idea. Or we can make it like a gray wolf. This is okay. We are making... Here, I'll show you. We are making assets for the Trapper tech tree, if you just joined. Where's my exploit window? Juggling windows here, right? So, oh, this is going to be difficult. Well, suffice to say that we're making assets for the Trapper, which is a new character class, and his buddies, the classes that he can upgrade to, in this case, the Hunter. And we have the male variants, so you can see them all over the place. Here's the Trapper, male, female. Here's the Shepherd, male. Big Game Hunter over here, male. This is the Hunter, male. And now we are making the female equivalent of the Hunter. Alright, I'm going to go for gray, just to see what it looks like, because that's the more extreme choice. And if it looks bad, then we'll pick a lighter brown. A brown which is still in our color family, but distinguishes her from the guy. So they each have their own character. Right. No. Use this one. Yeah. Okay. And you can tell, if you're paying attention, that the edge of the hood is a little bit lighter, just so it'll pop. It just sort of distinguishes that edge just a tiny bit. I do that a lot, especially on to make edges look a little bit worn on things like furniture. Alright, how'd we do? I'm going back to my reference image. Yeah, so this is like, let's see. Okay, I feel like I need to carry this, whoops, in like this, and then carry it in across maybe this way. And now I need to make up a new darker brown. Maybe like that. How's that? Better? Well, maybe not. It's okay. I'm gonna give it an okay. What if I just like took it straight down? Whoops. Yeah, that's better. That makes more sense. Now the contrast there is way too high. And I'm not digging the gray hood at all. So let's copy that, move it over. And now pick some browns that are consistent with the guy, but lighter. That, like that, like that, like that. And of course I'm only doing 1/2. Now I need a lighter version of you. Something like that. Wonk, wonk. Okay. Whoa, chat just got cleared. Someone did something bad. Having it as an actual hood doesn't look good. I disagree, Rowdy. Have some faith, man. Have some faith. Things usually look bad until they don't, until they look good. That's the way it goes sometimes. Get a concept. Try some variations. Many variations. But I like the concept. Because remember, like the trick is like how do you read the difference sidebar, whatever, sidebar. How do you read the difference between the trapper and the hunter? Here's trapper, here's hunter, right? You kind of need to be able to tell pretty easily who's who, right? And you don't want to have to like look at their character sheet to determine their class. That's just annoying. And they're going to be about that big on the screen, right? So giving this guy the hood, first it's consistent with his character, which is sort of like he's almost like a wood ninja, a little bit. And he's very distinct, right? So this isn't like level 1 guy and level 2 guy, right? This is like sort of an introductory class, and this is like almost an epic class. So this is a significant upgrade. So I want the look to be significantly more awesome. So that's why I'm going for the hood. Like you're not going to get this guy in your first couple of hours of gameplay. You're going to have to work to get him. You'll have a trapper and you'll be doing fun things with the trapper. But to get the hunter, you'll have to level up that trapper by going out and collecting little animals. And then you'll have to make a bow. And to make a bow, you're going to need, of course, a carpenter, but you're also going to need a weaver to make the bowstring. Then you craft the bow, and then you upgrade your reasonably high-level trapper to a hunter. And the payoff for that had better be pretty good. Okay, my contrast is still way too high. I might just, like, take it down to 0. I think that's what I'm going to do. Yeah. Let's just nuke it. Let's do something like that. Yeah, not bad. I feel like this top brown I have is a little bit too much yellow in it. So let's pick one up based off from here, something a little redder. Better, better. Okay, and now let's go for, let's just try to pick up the same color for the insides of the ears and see how that works. Whoops, whoops, something like that. And can we do that? No, I like the yellow eyes. All right, now we'll mirror it. It would be really awesome if Cubicle Constructor supported mirrored drawing. I would be so happy. Alright, I'm not sure. Oh yeah, the teeth are too big. There. Okay. The ears need to be bigger. Right, so this is just iteration mode, right, where I feel like my concept is working out, but now I need to constantly look, like, between one side and the other. Look at it at, you know, different angles, at a reasonable size, and see how's that going. Okay, the ears from this backside, yeah, are totally borked, so fix that, and probably use that same color for the ear. Not bad. I mean, they're clearly related. Very clearly related. I maybe want to change some colors in here. Maybe this is such a cliche, but I was gonna make her like her red outfit like a little lighter red. We'll just call it lighter red, but I'm not gonna do that because it's totally cliche. So instead, I'll give her a brighter sort of turquoise on her little breast plate. Standard thing. Right, oops, that's not even close to big enough change. Something like that. It's too light, a little darker. Whoops, whoops. Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's call it a day on the huntress on the huntress. So now going back to our board, we have trapper male female. Hunter male female, right? So this guy upgrades to this guy. She upgrades to her. Not bad. And by the way, by the time you see these in game, they're gonna change again. Not because I iterate a lot, but they'll probably be fairly similar to what you're seeing. Okay, Shepherd's next. Let's take a break and answer a couple of questions. Anybody have a question? Maybe I should scroll up. To distinguish between the male and female in this way is not getting the point across, to be honest. It feels more like a step in the character tree or a whole new class. Wait, really? Really? Aeonsi? The difference between this and this is like a whole new character class? I'll think about it, but I don't know, man. These guys seem pretty darn similar. Who's currently fixing bugs? So, let's see. I guess I can say what I said before, just because I've been on for a while, and what I said before was at the start of the broadcast. So, here is where we are, guys. Based on your feedback, we know that our two biggest issues are workers getting stuck and the fact that there is no save. So those are our top priorities. Now, both of those tasks, to be done correctly and well, um, should be done by Tony, who is the lead engineer on the sim and on the engine. So he is spending 100% of his time working on those two things. First, he's going to fix the stuck worker problems, which requires some reasonably um, big changes to the AI system to make it a little bit more sophisticated. Um, and he's working on that right now. When he is done with that and it's been debugged, we will push out a new patch. So the next release is going to fix stuck workers, and that's all Tony is spending his time on right now. After he does that, he will move to spending all of his time working on save, because that's the next biggest thing to work on. So that's where we are. And when save is finished, we will push out another release. And while he's doing that, we have myself and Albert and Stephanie and Chris, who are all working on other parts of the game. Be it performance fixing, it's a mix of what we're doing. A lot of us are working on, everyone's working on fixing bugs. Chris is working on adding new features to the renderer as well as new game features. Albert is working on adding new game features and improving our support for processing crash data. So basically, we've got these two big projects that Tony's working on. And as each project finishes, we'll push out a new release, which will contain not only that big piece, but also the things that other people have been working on. Right, but we won't release something until we have like a significant upgrade improvement to the things that you guys are most concerned about. The first thing being stuck workers and the next thing being save. And the nature of those two problems are such that they can't really be split up. So maybe you guys have heard of like the Mythical Man Month, which is sort of a tenet of software engineering that if you have a problem that takes X amount of time, you would think that you could put two people on it and divide X by 2, and that goes twice as fast. And that is an absolute fallacy. You just can't split up some kinds of work that way. So it would not be effective to put more than one person on the two big problems that Tony's working on. So the only reason I said that is because you might think, well, if they're your top priorities, why isn't the whole company working on it? Unfortunately, it just doesn't work that way. So, in light of that, my job right now, and when I say right now, I mean like just literally right now, because I am doing other things, is to make sure that art is not a bottleneck for the features that we're developing. So all the art needs to be ready when it comes time to write code for the crafters. In this case, the trapper, and then eventually like the trapper and the shepherd are probably the next two things after the weaver. So I'm making the character models and animations and other stuff for the trapper over here, the hunter over here, and the weaver over here. And then once I do this, I will go off and do something else. So that's where we are. Question: in the current iteration of the alpha, not being able to move between map elevations makes most of the map inaccessible. Could we expect a simple addition like stairs and ladders? Yes, but not. It's not one of our top 2 priorities. So I would not expect stairs and ladders before you saw changes or improvements to the things that I talked about before. We know that you're sort of stuck on one little section of the map, but it's probably, I think most of you would agree, it's more important to be able to save than it is to like explore more of the map. So save comes first. Yeah, we know how we'll handle that. You'll be able to build stairs in the same way, stairs and ladders, in the same way that you can build walls now, right? So imagine like there's another option, which is build a set of stairs, and then you'll say where, and then you click, right? Or build a ladder, and then you say where, and then a ladder appears on the cliff, and now you can get up to the other area. So we have a design for it. We know how we would implement it, It's just not the highest priority right now. So you'll get it, but not. It won't be the next thing you get. If the save system comes out, can we keep playing on the save even if new updates come out? Says My Little Piglet. That's the idea of My Little Piglet. And that's why save is sort of not one of those things that you can just sort of toss together. Is making sure that we can have backwards compatibility across saves, and it's a little more complicated than that, because you can imagine you might have a mod that wants to save its own data. Well, how do they do that? So yeah, but I can't promise that we'll never break compatibility, but our goal is to break it, to not break it very often, if ever. So yeah, I mean, it would suck, especially because we're releasing or we plan to at least release so many patches. It would suck if every 2 weeks you had to start over because we broke the save. Our UI resolution UI scaling high on the priority list this time? That should already be in. If there's something you feel like the existing UI scaling doesn't work for you in R27, I mean, what would you like to see? So right now, the game should work at any resolution at all. So yeah, I mean, there may be bugs, but it should work. Can you add seasons? We will have seasons, but that's a ways off. And a new class called Weaver. Yeah, the Weaver's going to be added. And if there are seasons, can the Weaver make scarves and stuff? That sounds like a great idea. Okay. Wow, that's really not great. Let's do this. Let's extend her skirt. It's not a skirt, it's a robe. There we go. I feel like I want to give her like closed-toed shoes. I don't know why. It just feels more stylish. Whoa, where do we go? There we go. There. Yeah, there we go. That's cute. At 1920 by 1200, I don't see parts of the right side. 1920 by 1200. Well, we can do that. Let's do that. Let me run the actual release that you're running. Okay, how do I do this without? Okay, I'm just going to move the window, and I'm going to have to learn to move it back. There. Boink. Now, move it back. Okay. So you said 1920 by 1200. This is 1920 by 1080. So 1200 would be about that. Okay. Now let's move it over. Your window's clipped, but I can see the whole thing. No, man. I mean, I believe you, but I'm not seeing it. Because... oh, you can't see. So I'll put the right side of the screen so that you can see it on stream. So here's the lower right corner, and there's the log, right? And there's the little debug meter that we have. So you should be okay. I don't know. Maybe... What, Albert? Oh, are you running in full screen, Knight Basilisk? Yeah, post a screenshot in a report, because as far as we know, this stuff should work. And like, what we added in the latest build was the ability to scale to arbitrary sizes, right? So here's like a tiny, tiny window, right? And the thing still, it scales to fit. And this should scale to any size, right? Now, maybe we shouldn't always have the aspect ratio the same, but it should work. Please file a report. That would be nice. Yeah, volume control would be sweet. So, like, yeah, unfortunately, well, I guess not unfortunately, because it's the right thing to do, but the reality is that, like, all of my answers on any feature request will be the same. Well, okay, it'll be one of two things. No, we're not doing that feature. But if we are doing that feature, we'll do that feature after we fix the stuck workers and after we implement save. And I think most of you would agree that's the right thing to do. Okay. Hey, we're doing okay. Look at this. Look at this. They're the shepherds. They're the hunters. They're the trappers. Okay, so good for us. Question, when will we see farming? That's hilarious. I can tell you roughly the order that we're going to do this is Weaver, Trapper. No, wait. Yeah, roughly the order that we're going to do the classes will be Weaver, Trapper, Shepherd, Farmer, Hunter, roughly. Now, those could be jostled around, but let's just say that Shepherd is, or Farmer, you're asking about Farmer. Farmer is in the next batch of classes that we want to focus on, because we want to give you two choices when it comes to farming food. Either farming food through hunter-gatherer or through farming. Farming's a long road, so we'll probably put it out in stages. Can I use cubicle constructor on multiple systems like Steam? Huh? The game is the game, Quizzmod. Zmod. Whether the game runs in Steam or it runs outside of Steam, a mod will work in either version, if that's what you're asking. Oh, yeah. But you need, look what Voxel Pirate said. The files go somewhere in your Steam library instead of in like program files or wherever you put them. Oh, God. I'm being trolled. Okay. What are we doing? Right. You guys want to see these things? So I've been working on implementing the Trapper, which is why I had to go do all this art. This is Dakota. It's our Lua debugger, our hacked version of the Lua debugger. And here is the test world with the Trapper. Yay! So here are two trappers, right? And they can't do anything yet, but these are the assets in game. And my next job is going to be to add the trapping AI and the commands to like go hunt down animals and stuff. Yeah. So let me just take a little bit of time to walk you through like all the code behind this, just because I know that you guys the modders are listening. Well, there's not going to be any code, pure or owner pure 9. It's mostly files on disk. But I can show you sort of what it's going to take to put the very, very basics of putting in a profession and sort of how we deal with assets. So where are we at? Hello? Control P? No? You're not going to let me do it? Control P? Yeah. Okay. So this is the Stonehearth. This is the Stonehearth manifest, which we've talked about on our blog a little bit. And there's this section called, well, it's called entities, but soon it'll be called aliases. And this is basically a giant lookup table for like all the stuff in my mod. And when you write a mod, you'll have your own manifest, and anything that you want to expose to the game, you'll add to the manifest. So I've added a couple of things here. There is, and these are necessary to make. Let me make the font bigger. I should have done that before. Much bigger. Okay, so there are 3 key entries in my manifest, right, related to the trapper. Okay. There is this description file, which tells you everything you need to know about the trapper. It's almost like kind of like, I'll show it to you. It's pretty easy to understand. And then the items in game that support the trapper. Like he has an outfit, and he has a net. You haven't seen the net yet, mainly because I haven't done the art for it. But he'll trap little things with the net. He doesn't set traps. He goes out and captures them actively. Because we thought about setting traps and coming back later, and it just seemed boring. We'd rather just have you go out and trap stuff directly. Okay, so let's look at this stuff on disk. Where's that? CSH. Okay, so if I go into, this is the Stonehearth mod on disk. All you modders are very familiar with it already. So there's this professions directory, and this isn't the way it works now in your release, but this is the way it'll work in the next release. And there's a trapper directory that I added, and this has all my stuff in it, right? So it's got the description file, and then it's got the outfit and the net. And the outfit has a QMO file, which is our cubicle file. It's got the exported QB, which is what the game reads, and then it's got this description file. And if we look at the outfit, it's basically, look at that, right? So it's a bunch of cubicle matrices, basically body parts, right? And these are the body parts that will be applied to the person model when you promote him to a trapper. Basically, he'll take off the worker outfit and put on this outfit. So you notice no head, no hands, because those pieces come from the person itself, right? Right, so that's the outfit. And if I look at like the description of the outfit, this is trapper outfit.json. The outfit is an entity, right? It's got some stuff that's not used, so they should be deleted. But then it's got 2 variants. One for when it's put on, well, one is normal, right? So the default file is trapper outfit. And then there's a variant, which is called female, which has the female model, right? And the female model is about what you would expect it to look like. It's, right, same thing, but girl parts. And the engine is smart enough to know that if you are putting an outfit on a girl, then look for a model variant that is the female and slap that on her, right? So this just describes the rendered bits, what to render when this item, when a person gets this item. Then there is this other component, which is equipment piece, which tells you how to apply these models, whether like to add them to the model. For instance, like if you had, I don't know, like a halo model, right? Well, you don't replace the head with the halo, you add the head or the halo to the head. So in this case, we want to merge, right? So the body parts that I define on my outfit overwrite the existing pieces of the model. And then this is empty right now. Here, let me, these are the AIs that should be applied to this person when they don this piece of clothing. So these are all the trapper things, right? So the difference between a worker and a trapper are like, well, this is an array. So like, you can imagine that like, there's like actions, trap, creature. I guess these are like, it would be more like, we refer to them by aliases. So it's like Stonehearth, trapper, trap, critter, action, right? And maybe like Stonehearth, trapper, skin, critter, action, whatever the trapper can do, right? And these are Lua scripts that implement the AI for trapping a critter and skinning a critter, right? And so when you put on the trapper outfit, that person gets those new AIs, and that's how the trapper can do these things, whereas the worker and the carpenter can't, right? And this is just a convenient mechanism for us to manage that, because it means when you take off that outfit, because either you demoted the guy back to a worker or you made him another class, he'll naturally lose those actions, because the actions, the AI is associated with the equipment piece that you're attaching to the dude, not with the dude himself. Yay. What else is there? Oh yeah, the profession description file. Let me show you what that looks like. That's pretty boring. It just shows you, like, it's just metadata about the profession that the UI will use or the system will use. Like, so there's a little bit of code, which I can show you, and then boring stuff like, hey, what's it called? The code just contains a couple of functions. What to do? Oh, hey, look, I'm finding bugs all the time. That's not necessary. Copy paste error. So what to do when promoting someone to a trapper, and what to do when demoting them from a trapper, right? And you can see what this code does is it loads the description file that I was talking about before, and it adds a profession component to the entity, which basically means tell this guy that he has a new job, and then populate some information about that profession with information that we loaded from this description file, right? So that'll do things like set his description to trapper, and some other stuff to basically set him up as that profession. Then here's the interesting part, right? Once you've told him that he's that profession, that just changes like some descriptive fields and stuff. It doesn't really do much. The real doing aspect is we get the equipment component from the guy, which is where all his equipment is stored, and you equip his outfit right here, right? So the equipment component right here, when you call equip item and give it the trapper outfit, it's going to load up all those models, slam them on the guy, say, oh, look, there's AI associated with this outfit for skinning and trapping animals. Let me take that AI and add that to the guy as well so he knows how to do this stuff. And yeah, right. So that's sort of how professions work. And if you look at like a more interesting profession, like the carpenter, let's see if I can find that. Professions, carpenter. Nope, that's not it. Yeah, so here's the carpenter's profession description, right? So it says that he's the carpenter, whoop-de-doo. And he has, some more interesting, like, which effect to run when he works. He saws, he doesn't pound a hammer like the workers do. Here's his list of recipes, and then information about his workshop, right? So this sort of, well, whatever. I mean, it's code, but this is sort of how it works. Let me answer some more questions and then get out of here. And I guess I can bring up this thing again, just so you guys have something interesting to look at. I really have to like get rid of all these hints on our tests because we kind of know how to play the game. Oh look, I got two girls this time. Does that work for you? Yeah, that works for you. All right, some questions. How long will it take someone to make a complete Warcraft mod for Stonehearth? Whoa, that would take a long time, Rufable. I don't know. That would take a long time. I guess it depends on what you want to do. Do you want to make Warcraft 3 in Stonehearth? That would take a long time. If you just want to like do a Warcraft total conversion where you make the people look like the Alliance or the Horde, it depends on how talented your artist is, but that would be very straightforward. Just doing a total conversion would be straightforward. I guess you'd want to add all their equipment stuff, but possible. How will the mod API work with building templates? That's a good question, Nestle Bar. Templates are basically, Wow. Templates are basically cubicle files. So the wall template is literally a cubicle matrix that looks like the wall. So if you wanted to define something like a wall that's a different color or slightly different shape or has a different pattern on it, you just make a new cubicle file and you describe it with a little bit of JSON, and that's it. It should just work. You'll also, in the description, you'll say, well, what is it made out of? Is it made out of wood or stone or metal or whatever? That's one thing that we added fairly recently, was to change. The building system used to be like all code, and it worked, but it was like a pain to add new parts. So we just sort of revamped it to be based on models, which is kind of tricky because you have to sort of decompose the model and figure out, okay, it's made out of these pieces in these regions, and then figure out how to build it, but it was worth the effort. Will this game be as hard as Dwarf Fortress or even harder? It depends on what you mean by hard. Like, will it be as hard? Like Dwarf Fortress is difficult to play for a couple of reasons. First, there's sort of the limitations of the interface, given that it's ASCII. And the other one is that there's a whole lot of breadth to Dwarf Fortress and a lot of depth as well. And it just sort of says, here I am, and you have to figure it out. One of our goals, well, first of all, we won't be as hard initially because we won't have neither the breadth nor the depth as Dwarf Fortress. That's just ridiculous. That game is insane in the best possible way, but it's crazy time. So we'll naturally be easier to play because we won't be as broad or as deep as them for a long time, if ever. And then we'll also be easier to play because we'll just have better ability to put an interface in front of you because we have a big screen and you have a mouse. So it'll be easier to play than Dwarf Fortress for sure. We don't want it to be easy, but it's not going to be as hard as Dwarf Fortress, let's be realistic. Will characters be able to marry and have kids? People ask that a lot. That's a trick. That's tricky. That's a tough one to do. Like, we think about it from time to time, but we don't know quite how to do it. Because, you know, you have to model a kid, and I guess you could say kids just run around and do nothing, and then after a set amount of time they grow up, and then they turn into normal units. That's okay. I guess that would be fairly easy to do, but it seems like you want more depth to that. Like, if you can have kids, then shouldn't people be able to grow old and die, right? And that brings up a whole set of issues. So, will you have chat bubbles for any humanity in the characters, such as gibberish speak? Right. Yeah, so we want them to... I actually tried to implement conversations between players last week. Well, 2 weeks ago. A month ago? Time flies. And it's actually... we want to do it. It's tricky. Because, I mean, you'd think, like, it would be easy, right? Like, let's code up an AI where this guy... both these people are bored. So maybe she should, like, go over there and chat with her. That's actually what I tried to implement. And that you run into a lot of issues, like, really quickly. Like, she can't just run. She has to, like, find a path, right? Because there might be, like, a wall right here. So she should run around the wall. Okay, that's easy to solve, right? And so she should run and get to, like, within, like, 2 units or something, so they're close to each other, and then they should do some chat animations or something. But what if, like, they're within 2 units of each other, and there's a wall, like, between them, right? So they could be talking to each other with a wall between them. That doesn't make sense. That's crazy. So really, she needs to, like, path to a point that's not nearby. She needs to path to a point that's nearby and where they can have, like, line of sight with each other. But guess what? We haven't implemented line of sight. So it quickly unravels into, like, a pretty complicated problem. So that's why that's why it's not in the game right now. But it is something that we want to add.
Ready for the test?
Obviously.
Oh my god.
No!
I clicked on something and a line started playing. That was hilarious. Will there be characteristics that influence their behavior? I'm guessing you're talking about citizens. Yeah. So, we've talked about characters having, Like you can see, I can just show you. I think I can show you. Where's, let me make sure you can see this thing. Yeah. Right, so here is the very much work in progress character sheet for Vio. And you can see she's got a personality, and she's got these traits. This TBD, stay tuned. Traits will be unique characteristics that can define behavior for a person. So you might think of someone, maybe a trait is Vio is narcoleptic, which means that these will be either beneficial, detrimental, or just hilarious. So a narcoleptic Vio would occasionally just like fall asleep. She's hauling a log and she just like drops the log and falls asleep for like 5 seconds and then wakes up. Or you can imagine someone who's like an early riser, so they require less sleep. Or you can imagine like RP put in a mod to like randomly size people, so that's something that we could very easily add. Is one of a potential trait could be like enormous, and when you're enormous, your model is scaled up. In fact, this will probably be one of the first ones we add. Your model is scaled up by like 1.2, 20%, and you get like a bonus to like body, your +1 body. So I don't know if you guys noticed, but these 3 stats are random between 1 and 6. It's like 1d6, right? Hey, this shows it pretty nicely. So maybe if you're enormous, your body could go up to 7, right? If you get lucky and roll a 6 and you get the enormous trait, then your body attribute is 7, which means you're like faster, stronger, and hardier. So maybe you want that guy to be your first swordsman or whatever. Or maybe you want it to be a crafter because he's faster and you want to be efficient when you craft. So yeah, that's definitely in the works. Characteristics that affect. Oh look, she's hungry and there's no food in the world. You're so screwed. Sorry, Vio. They're both Vio. Wow, what are the odds? 2 Vios. Okay, more questions. Maybe like 3 more questions and then I'll wrap it up for today. And I'll try to do these a little bit more often. I know it's been a while, but we've been super busy. How soon will floor plans and roofs come? Pretty much building generation chosen by the players. Tinkerpox, that's a good question. Getting those primitives, those more advanced building primitives like floor plans and roofs. Well, roofs is just a bug, and so yes, we will fix that bug as soon as we have. It'll definitely be after the Pathfinder is fixed, stuck workers are fixed, and then it may come in before save. More likely it'll come in right after save. It's fixing the roof bug, and then floor plans and beefing up construction will be one of Tony's higher priorities after fixing save and stuck workers. Yeah. So that's a high priority, but it's not as high a priority as fixing stuck workers and save, which is, like I said, my standard answer for all features. Is there a way? Will be there a way to increase their skills and strengths? Yes, absolutely. You will be able to buff your workers either through making better food, or doing things like one of our stretch goals for the Kickstarter was festivals, right? So maybe at the harvest, you can optionally make a whole bunch of stuff like a feast. If you make enough of the feast, you guys have a party and everybody gets some kind of morale boost for the next month or something like that. That kind of stuff will definitely be in there. In fact, I mean, I can show you the buff system already in working. Like, where'd it go? There. So this is my tooltip's broken, but this little ZZZ square is a buff. And okay, and there's so it works for that time. So Vio has a groggy debuff, which lowers her speed by 50% for because she slept on the ground, and that's to get you to make beds. Otherwise, if we don't give you a reason to make beds, you might not make beds, and that kind of is boring. And I can show you. So if can you guys see that? I hope you can. So this is one of our debug tools, which exposes like all the data in the game. These are all the components and all their data. And there's a buffs component here, which is empty for her. Okay, so here's a buffs component for the other VO, which is empty. Wow. Oh, because the buff went away. But you can look at like their attributes. Here, I'll show you the attributes component. So these are all the attributes for VO, and you can see that every one of them has, like for instance, compassion has a value and an effective value, right? And they're all the same right now because VO doesn't have any buffs or debuffs. But if you had like a buff that buffed your body, you can imagine it's like I'm wearing a helm of strength, and so my strength would go up 1, the effective value would turn into 4, and then you could have other buffs that add like other benefits, and so we can calculate sort of your inherent attribute value, which is the value, and your changed attribute value, taking into account buffs and debuffs, which is the effective value. So we're already planning for all this stuff. Right. You heard a scream? Yeah, the scream was a vine that started playing in one of my browser windows. I don't know why. But yeah, I heard that too, and I was like, what? Who got stabbed? But no, it was just a vine. Okay, 2 more questions. I think I've already hit my cap, but I'll do 2 more. Will AI become more human-like, sitting in chairs on their own, walking around town doing things, buying from a store? Yes. So we have... So, okay, yes and no. Like, you just saw her crying because she's hungry, right? So we want to add more stuff like that. Or like she's bored, so she's swinging her arms. These are very simple, what we call ambient behaviors, and we want to add more. Like I talked about, when you have 2 people who are bored who are close to each other, like one should go over to the other one and they should just start having a conversation. And it's all just like, decoration, really. It doesn't mean anything, but it helps preserve the illusion that these guys are like real people and they actually have their own lives. In terms of like going off and buying something from a store, that is maybe beyond what we're thinking of right now. Look, she's crying because she's hungry. She's so sad. Why won't you feed her? Because there's no food in the world. Right, so like people will go eat on their own, and if there's a chair nearby, they will choose to eat on the chair. That's a little bit, that needs some tuning right now. People prefer the ground a little more than chairs right now, but we'll fix that bug. If there's a bed, they will sleep in the bed, and they will own that bed. Other people won't sleep in it. So they'll sort of go about daily routines in a very human-like way, but they won't go off and find motivation to, like, buy a dinner set and take it back to their store or their house and set it up or something like that. That's going a little too far. One more question. Oh, this is a good question, so I'll end out on it. Is specialist not doing anything other than their crafts, such as cutting trees, intentional? Yes, it is very intentional. And it's one area where we definitely differ from similar games in the genre. This is inspired from tactics games, where you had a limited number of people in a wide variety of things that could be done through classes. You sort of had to pick and choose which ones you wanted. It's almost like a character build or a skill build in like Diablo or World of Warcraft or something like that, where it's like you can do all these things, but you have to pick some. We really like that idea of choice. So when you have all your workers, you have to choose what they get to do, or how you're gonna spend them to do different things. Like when you upgrade a carpenter, you lose some capacity to do things like chop trees and haul things, and so in that area you're a little less efficient. So a big part of the game is balancing that out. It's very intentional, and yeah, I think it's working out very nicely so far, but the proof will be in when we have not one class, when we have a dozen classes. How does that work? And a big balancing part of that will be the rate at which you can gain new people. That'll be very important to balance correctly. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. And like I said, I will try to do these more often. I got into a regular cadence late last year, but things have been super busy with the alpha, but maybe like once every 2 weeks, which is what I was doing before. So expect one of these in early February, and I'll give you more notice next time. Thanks for watching. Talk to you next time.